Hi friends, welcome to Bookish Bliss, our virtual book club. Every week we will dig into a section of chapters in our favorite books. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 42 of Bookish Bliss. We have a lot to discuss today.
This week we are covering chapters 18 to 26 of Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. There will be no spoilers beyond the covered chapters, so you don't have to read the whole book to listen. You just have to be caught up on the chapters we're covering. Amanda, darling, what are you drinking tonight?
Megan, I'm going to start with some water and then end with some LaCroix.
You know what,
What
Amanda?
are you drinking tonight?
I'm going to start with some water in my Stanley, but I'm going to end with a bubbly.
Woo! Oh, look at us being so daring today.
Little switch up, some magic happening in this episode.
It's magic.
It's magic, darling. Cheers to another episode of Bookish Bliss, episode number 42, and another section of Iron Flame.
Yes.
Cheers,
darling. Very hydrating.
Yes, I need to be hydrated today.
Yes, you do. Let's get started with the good stuff and break down Iron Flame Part 3. Take it away, Megan.
All right, we're going to be starting off with chapter 18. So Xaden is back at Basquiat, thank the gods, for the night. And of course, we cannot have a calm, peaceful, loving reunion. They spend it arguing and walk away angry from each other. And I am so over them.
So fucking over them.
Mm-hmm.
So the epigraph for chapter 18 is, "It was only when we pushed the wards to their true limits, extending them far past what we thought possible and to what I now question as sustainable, that we defined the borders of Navarre, regretfully knowing not every citizen would benefit from their protection." And this is from The Journey of the First Six, a secondhand account by Sagar Olson, first curator of the Scribe Quadrant, Basquiat War College, then translated into the common language by Captain Madeline Calrose, 12th curator of the Scribe Quadrant at Basquiat War College, and then translated and redacted for academic consumption by Colonel Phineas Cartland, 27th curator of the Scribe Quadrant, Basquiat War College. So how much of this can we trust? Who knows?
Absolutely none of it.
Yeah.
Or
after 27 curators, I don't know.
Just take what it says or what is there, what is left, and then use your imagination to fill in the blanks.
Yeah. Or if it was absolutely true, this is kind of showing that even the first six knew that it was going to be an issue, that not everybody was within the borders.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see what comes
yes.
from that.
Indeed.
Indeed. So Xaden arrives early from Samara as Violet is in her room pouring through every history text she owns and two that Jasenia loaned her. Violet tells Xaden that he looks exhausted and he's like, wow, that is exactly what every man wants to hear when they see the woman they love.
Yeah.
Violet says, well, I didn't tell you you weren't beautiful. I just said that maybe you need a nap, which is probably true after flying for half a day.
Yeah, probably.
Violet also tells him that he needs a bath. She's just
You stink.
She's so loving in this moment.
Yeah.
And Xaden tells Violet that he missed her because I have to imagine that he is very lonely in Samara. He has Garrick, but he doesn't have anyone to have this like quick-witted banter with.
I know, and they can't even talk through their mind bond. They're so far away.
I know. It would be nice if they could still do that, even though they're so far apart, but...
Well, I'm sure if Varish and fucking Colonel Atos were in charge of wherever he was sent, then they could have probably in another universe.
That is very true, Amanda. Violet and Xaden just love to be little rule breakers because he is not supposed to be staying in her rooms while he is at Basquiat. Xaden is still withholding a sexual relationship until Violet tells him that she loves him, and I want you is not going to cut it.
Ugh, give it up already.
I'm so over this.
Have the sex already.
Just fuck, you'll feel better about it. Violet wonders when Xaden goes and takes a bath why she just can't be honest with him. Whoa, us too.
Yeah.
Us too, Violet.
Yeah.
But she says that that's where they're both alike, wanting more than they're willing to risk.
Hmm. I guess she has a point there.
I guess.
So, one of the books Violet is reading is heavily redacted with one vague passage about discovering the ability to extend the ward. So, not very helpful to her.
Not very helpful. And she's about to get into big trouble with Mr.
Yeah.
Zayden Ryerson. Z-
Uh-oh.
Zayden wants to know what all these books are doing in her room, that she has way more than she did last year. And Violet explains, well, these were all stored for her at her room in the main college, and now she gets to have them here in the Riders Quadrant. But Zayden wants to know why Violet is reading or researching the first six, because
Mhm.
he very well knows that there is no assignment at Piscataway College where she would be doing a paper on the first six.
No, absolutely not. And she is not supposed to be concentrating on anything other than surviving her second year.
Yeah. So he finds her out. So Violet has to
Mhm.
give it up. She says, well, I am reading these books for Arisha and for you, Zayden. Remember that you love me.
I'm sure she said it exactly like
Yeah.
that.
Brennan did, in fact, tell her about the Wordstone and Arisha. So Zayden's putting this all together. Like, why would this even pop into Violet's head to be researching? And then he
Yeah,
remembers Violet has an older brother that she just reunited with, and he told her about it.
exactly, yeah. Shouldn't have left them two alone. What were you thinking?
I know.
So Violet explains to Zayden the very reason she's trying to figure out how to raise and extend more wards. Civilians are fleeing for their borders. No one in Navarre knows the truth, and Arisha needs to defend itself since they are going to take in people when Venom finally reach Tyrande.
Mhm.
Good reasons, I think.
Yeah, I think what she's doing is going to be very useful for them, but obviously Zayden is just a worrywart and doesn't want anything bad to happen to Violet for researching things she shouldn't be researching.
Yeah. And I don't even think this was a possibility for them before Violet. Like
Right.
none of them are smart enough to even think of this, so I think that even scares him more. Like this is really dangerous.
Yeah, and that's literally the first thought that popped into her head the second she found out about the
Yeah.
Wordstone in Arisha.
Yeah. Literally. She's too fucking smart.
Yeah.
So Zayden thinks weapons will defend Tyrande, but Violet disagrees, and she will keep researching how the first six put the wards in place so she can duplicate the process.
Mhm.
Zayden says no one knows how it was originally done, just how to maintain them. But again, Violet counters and says she thinks someone knows.
Mhm.
There's no chance they would get rid of that information. They are for sure hiding it.
Oh, absolutely.
And we will search for it.
We will search. There's no way they're giving up how the first six put
Oh, hell
the
no.
Wordstone together to power the wards in Navarre and to protect the Vale and the people within it. It's just
Yeah.
there's no way that it's just laying in the heads of random people because that it may not ever get passed down if they all die. It's written
Yeah.
somewhere, and Violet is going to find it.
Yeah, like you never know if the wards were actually going to falter and fall. How would you
Mhm.
get them back up? You need to know how it was originally done to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're definitely hiding it.
So
They
they
just don't want it to fall into the wrong hands, I think,
yeah.
to figure out how to undo them, maybe.
Yeah. Violet is also in trouble again because Zayden knows that this first six book is not Violet's. He is
Hmm.
worried that she is putting herself in danger for researching classified material, particularly because Jasenia knows about it.
Yes, and Zayden tells Violet there's a reason they don't have any friends in the archives. It's literally the beating heart of the enemy. But Violet has friends there.
Yeah, Jasenia is definitely trustworthy. I was a little
Yeah,
nervous when you learned that there are no scribes that are a part of the revolution to trust Jasenia, but I think
yeah,
what we've seen over the past, 18 chapters is that Jasenia is trustworthy, so I'm hoping that it stays that way.
I agree. And I'm hoping so too.
Yeah. But Zayden wants to meet Jasenia, and Violet reluctantly is going to bring him to do just that. But before they leave, Rhiannon and Riddick are at Violet's door, wanting her to go with them to Chantara. Zayden,
Aw.
I know, her poor friends are like, please hang out with us.
Yeah. And she's like, "Who are you again?" Sorry, I can only see Zayden with my heart eyes.
Yeah, Zayden like goes to slam the door in their faces, saying, she's busy.
Yeah.
And then the two of them proceed to have an argument in their minds while Rhiannon and Riddick just stand there super confused. I love it because they're making faces at each other, and it looks
Yeah.
like they're yelling at each other, but they're not actually saying anything out loud.
I wish that we could do that. That would be so cool.
I know. I also talk with my hands, so I think if I was mind yelling at someone, you would totally know because I would still be, like, waving my hands around.
Yeah, I would be probably laughing to myself all day because 'cause I'm funny as fuck. So whoever I'm talking to would be laughing with me.
Literally. Violet threatens, Zayden's life for the umpteenth time, and Rihanna tells Zayden that she will help bury his body, and Zayden comments on how loyal her friends are. Wh
That's right, baby.
Yes,
Second squad.
they are
Woo.
loyal. And Violet wants Zayden to remember this when it comes time to tell them the truth.
Yeah, for sure.
On their way to see Jasenia, they run into Nolan, and he has lost an extraordinary amount of weight and is looking quite haggard.
Yeah, Nolan tells Violet that it's hard work mending a soul and that he's been at it for months now, but Violet can't tell if he's joking or not.
I
Oh.
just feel like he's clearly not joking,
Yeah.
and I don't think Nolan jokes, and so I would have been questioning him, but they
Yeah.
don't.
She's so inquisitive 24/7, and now this is the one time she don't have a question for him.
She's like, "Oh, cool."
She's like, Maybe she's like, "It's Nolan, he would tell me if something crazy was going on."
Maybe because they've known each other for so long, because 'cause he's been
Yeah,
bending Violet her whole life,
her
so
whole life. Yeah,
maybe, but I mean, he does tell her what she's doing, she just
I
doesn't
know.
believe him.
True. Maybe that's why he's like, "I just don't even wanna explain," or maybe he can't explain, maybe he's, like, bound to secrecy somehow and just is trying to give little hints kinda like she does to Rhiannon.
Yeah, I just wanna point out that I knew and I guessed that this is what was going on way before this, and this whole scene just confirmed to me my suspicions and my thoughts.
Yes, like, that's epic that you figured that
It
out.
was one of my epic guesses, for sure.
Yeah. So Violet tells Zayden that Riddick thinks Nolan is being used for interrogations.
Which I'm sure he is, but
Yeah.
obviously we know he's doing way more than just that.
Unfortunately, we find out at the end of this
Ashton,
section.
yeah. And this is what really sealed the deal for me. So Caroline Ashton interrupts Nolan's conversation with Violet and Zayden and says that she was meeting with Nolan, but both comment on how she did not look injured.
So if he's so busy with all these injured people and has this huge month backlog,
Mhm.
but she can just come in and pop in and say hi to him whenever she wants.
No. So this was the nail in the coffin for me. I knew exactly what was happening in this
So
moment.
smart. So smart, Megan.
As they continue on into the tunnels to see Jasenia, Violet feels a pang of grief, and she is remembering her father and how much he loved the access to the archives when her mother got stationed at Biscayeth. Violet wants Zayden to be on his best behavior in her favorite place in the world, as Jasenia is one of her oldest friends as well. But Zayden reminds her that so is Atos.
He does not trust anybody. He's like, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
no. Yeah, I don't trust anyone who you think is a friend until I meet them.
Yeah.
But I think Jasenia and Dane are very, very completely different people. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And Jasenia's had the same teachings or whatever classes, upbringing as Violet. So, she was just out of the loop as Violet was,
Yeah, for
you know?
sure. Mhm.
So they meet up with Jasenia, and the last books Violet got from her were too recent and vague, but Jasenia has an idea and gives her two more books.
Mhm. We learn here that Xaden can sign, which he tells Violet, "You speak Tyrish, and one is less common than the other." And it's like, why is it so surprising that Xaden can do other things? Like, he is a very smart individual.
Yeah, and he had to take care of a lot of kids.
Exactly. 106 to be exact.
Yeah, exactly.
Xaden is not happy again with Violet that she let Jasenia read the Fables of the Baron. That text could get Violet reported. So they have another argument about trusting one another, and Xaden walks away before he says something that he doesn't mean and digs a bigger hole into their relationship.
Well, that's good, I guess.
I guess, yeah. When Violet wakes up in the morning, she can tell that Xaden hadn't slept there and his stuff is gone and he's already on his way back to Samara. And Violet hopes that these were not the last words that they'll say to one another. And honestly, like, I just don't feel bad for Violet here. You're the one that's keeping up this barrier between you two. And it's only in moments in your head and with other people that you're like, oh, yeah, Xaden, he's trustworthy. She gets mad on his behalf, says that she loves him to everyone but him. And I've had it. I've had it.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's both of them. It's not just her, but she's definitely just as guilty as him.
yeah, no, I know.
I feel like he's doing the same thing in the POV chapters that we get of him. I know it's Iron Flame, but I have to assume he's still doing the same thing. Like, we know he loves Violet. Why don't you tell her you love her too?
I know. Well, because he thinks that she won't believe him if
Yeah,
she
I
says
get
it.
it. But
If
I'm
he says
saying,
it.
like, that's stupid too.
I know.
So it's like they're
They're
both
both
idiots.
stupid. They're both
Yeah.
stupid. I hate
Yeah.
them. Okay. I like them individually. Together right now, I
Yeah,
hate
not
them.
not good right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to chapter 19. Lots of drama in our second chapter tonight, but no real new information, just some potential forward progress between Rhiannon and Violet, and Varsh gets his ass handed to him by Taryn. So
Yes,
I
I love this chapter.
did love two of those moments. So
Yes, for sure. So the epigraph for chapter 19 is Dragons do not answer to the whims of men. From Colonel Kaori's Field Guide to Dragonkind.
mm-hmm.
And we'll find out what this epigraph is all about.
We sure will. So 2 days later,
Fourth Wing is back on the flight field for maneuvers, and Violet does not produce Andarna. Womp womp.
womp womp. So Violet is very worried about her punishment because of it.
Yeah, Violet made it 27 strikes this morning with Car before her temperature spike, but she didn't hit a single spot she aimed for. So is he preparing her for her punishment here or
Yeah,
trying to kill her? I don't know.
I feel like Professor Carr would know. Well, I guess he doesn't know that Andarna's not going to show up. So Violet has to continue on with her lessons as scheduled with him because I'm sure he's
That's
a
true.
very busy man. But it just sucks that she already did lightning strikes 27 times this morning. And now Varsh is about to punish her. And she's going to have to do some more and potentially burn out.
And she's not being punished this morning, so why aren't they working on her aim?
I am very interested on how she has been with Professor Carr since she got her ability to strike with her lightning, and this girl cannot aim for shit.
Yeah. It's like they don't want to teach her how to aim.
Or
Or maybe they don't
or
know.
maybe they don't know how to teach her how to aim. I don't
But
know.
still, it's not even a conversation. Like they're not even talking about like how to get there.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he is doing some research on the side to help Philo. We don't know. I feel like Professor
Yeah.
Carr is a very trusted professor at this point. We have no reason not to trust him. He did try to stick up for Violet when Varish was punishing her. So
Yeah.
I guess we just have to see, if Violet can somehow figure out the trigger of the lightning and how to maneuver it.
Yeah. Without time stopping.
Yes, exactly. So Rhiannon and Sawyer are wondering why Varsh has it out for Violet, and they also think that his dragon pairing is odd. His dragon is very off kilter, and Varsh seems so in control. But I
Mm.
actually think that they are a very good pair because Varsh is a fucking sociopath and
He
deserves his
literally is.
off kilter dragon.
Yeah. Like they're both just so unpredictable and
Hmm.
scary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess they haven't really seen that side of Varish that
True.
Violet has. So I guess to an outside perspective, Varish would seem very in control. But no, I think they're a perfect pair, Solace and Varish.
Yeah, for
Whack
sure.
jobs.
Whack jobs, two of them together.
Hmm.
So Sawyer asks Violet if Andarna is all right because he actually hasn't seen her in a while either.
Hmm.
She tells him that Andarna is resting a lot and can only do simple maneuvers, so it's not worth it for her to be put through this stuff. It's just too much for her.
Yeah.
Varish, he's about to punish Violet again for not following orders and bringing Andarna to flight maneuvers.
Yeah.
He charges her with dereliction of duty for her dragon's refusal to show. But Taryn tells her that a punishment is not fucking happening.
Nope.
Even the smallest dragon does not answer to the most powerful human, which Varish is not.
No, he is not.
Absolutely not. Tan is like, I will put my foot down, my big dragon foot down on this one.
He's like, I will squash him. I will
Yeah.
literally squash
You
him.
will die.
Yeah.
A miserable death if you don't shut the fuck up.
Yes. Rhiannon does attempt to step in as well, and Varish tells Rhiannon that clearly Violet's first punishment was not effective and that he does not owe Rhiannon an explanation. He tells Rhiannon to mount up before he punishes her alongside Violet, which
Ugh,
Rhiannon's like, oh, another secret. Had no idea you were even punished a first time. Never
yeah,
mind what the heck is going on right now. But
yeah,
lots of secrets between the two friends.
yeah. I guess you could say in this instance, she is kind of being protected by not knowing because if she can't jump in, she's not going to be punished either.
No, I know, but Rhiannon is her squad leader, so she should probably know things like this.
No, absolutely. I agree. I mean, I don't agree with not telling Rhiannon. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to give Violet the benefit of the doubt in some
It's
situations.
so funny because if things were reversed, Violet would be so pissed. Like, how could you
She'd be
not
so
tell
pissed.
me? La la
Yeah,
la.
I know. She'd be so pissed.
So Varsh tells Violet that even if they, the dragons, don't answer to him, Violet does. And Taryn goes, does she? Does she answer to you?
Ooh! Then he fucking locks his jaws around Solus's throat. He says, only a rider can be a vice commandant of Biscayeth. Without a dragon, you are no rider.
Ooh, it is very true.
Yeah.
So Varish relents and says that Violet will not pay the price for her dragon's refusal to attend, that humans have no authority over summoning dragons, and Taryn makes Varish apologize to Violet on his fucking knees.
Yeah, drop down, bitch.
Violet's like, okay, yeah, no, I accept because Varish hates her already. Now it's 10 times worse.
I know, and we still have RSC to get through, so
Yeah, this is just not. I mean, yes, it's saving her from a punishment now, but it's not going to be
yeah, he
good.
should have just offed Solus. Then
Yeah,
we wouldn't have had to deal with this.
literally. Meanwhile, all of the dragons had lowered their heads and they don't raise them until Solace has flown off and Varish has apologized. But Varish is looking at Violet with hatred more than ever, like I just said.
Yeah. Well, too bad. Fuck you.
But it's interesting, like the other dragons are like, yep, we're not getting involved here.
Yeah, no shit. I wouldn't want to fuck with a dragon triple my size either.
No. Later, Rhiannon accuses Violet. So here we go. This is the best friend showdown right now.
Mhm.
This is like the second one already because we had
I
one during
know.
Land Nav, and here we go again.
Rhiannon's fed up
She's
as squad leader
fed
and
up.
best friend.
Literally. Every role she holds, she's fed up with
Yeah,
Violet.
exactly.
So later, Rhiannon accuses Violet of not talking to her, running away with Imogen, and locking herself away and spending every possible Saturday with Zayden. She tells Violet not to forget that Liam was her friend too. So this argument starts because of Violet not telling Rhiannon about the punishment, but also
Yeah.
because Violet makes this comment about how the gauntlet is necessary, and Rhiannon had said it's just like evil for no reason. And Violet's like, no, I agree. This is what needs to be done, why we're
Yeah.
here.
I also think too Rhiannon says this because she really doesn't know what the hell happened at Ressin and Liam died. So she's like, I want to know not just for your sake, but also like Liam was my friend too. Like I deserve to know what happened to him.
Yeah. So Violet gets very angry, saying she doesn't know what it was like to see Liam die and that she doesn't know what's out there. She tells Rihanna that there is a reason Biscayeth wants them to watch their friends die because they are weapons, and Biscayeth is the stone that they use to sharpen them. As horrible as everything they witness is here, it prepared Violet to leave Liam's body on the ground and continue to fight because if she hadn't, then they all would have died that day.
Yeah. She had to do what she had to do.
Violet tells Rhiannon that she is sorry, but she is glad that Rhiannon doesn't have those memories and she wouldn't wish them upon her worst enemy. But she was about to tell Rhiannon more when Varsh interrupts them. So Terrence,
Yeah.
like Solus's rider, approaches.
Yeah. I'm like, uh-oh.
Oh, Solus's rider.
He doesn't even deserve a name.
No. So Varsh demands to search Violet's belongings once again, and Rhiannon asks why they search her things. Violet lies, saying that it's because they can't trust Zayden, which is not really a lie. That is mostly why they
I
are
know.
searching her bag. Violet apologizes again, and Rhiannon says that she prefers Violet's screams than pretending everything is all right with silence. And I think Violet says to her, like, nothing is all right before she takes
Yeah.
off to Samara.
Yeah.
Nothing is all right.
I feel like they need to hash it out though so that it finally just comes out. Because I feel like she would have told her if Varys shouldn't interrupt.
Mhm.
Like the little snake that he is.
It's
Oh.
definitely building to Violet just saying it because she
Yeah,
keeps getting, like, pushed and pushed and pushed, and she
exactly.
wants to tell her, so it's gonna come
Yeah.
out eventually, and I think very soon. Obviously, not in this set of chapters, but it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, she's not even worried about them not even believing her. She's just worried about them getting hurt because they know she's gonna take their side and fight with them
Mhm.
and be good friends and be a good squad,
Yeah,
but
they're loyal.
yeah.
So, moving on to chapter 20, we love an info dump chapter mixed with Zayden and a little sister chat. Will
Mhm.
Zayden and Violet finally stop annoying me in this chapter? We shall see.
Probably not, but we shall
Amanda's
see.
like, since you wrote that, I'm guessing probably not.
No. Yep, you read my mind. So the epigraph for chapter 20 is: In the years after my father died, I forgot what it felt like to be loved. Then I entered the quadrant and became the monster everyone needed me to be, and I never regretted it. But then you gave those words to me, and I remembered, and nearly lost you too. I'm striving to be better for you, just like I promised, but I need you to know that that monster is still there, screaming to use every ruthless part of me to get your words back. And this is from the recovered correspondence of Lieutenant Zayden Ryderson to Cadet Violet Sorengale.
So, even
Oh,
though he's not saying it out loud to her, he is
yeah.
telling her. He's just
Yeah.
writing it down because he's a stupid boy and he can't say things out loud.
I know, but he's annoying too. And he's like, I want those 3 words. Why does she have to say them and you don't?
Yeah, because he's a stupid boy.
She tells him too without saying it.
That is true. That is very true.
These 2 fucking dum-dums. But
Dumb
honestly, I love
dumbs.
seeing these correspondence between them and the
Mhm.
epigraphs.
Yeah.
It's my favorite epigraphs. I always smile because you know before you even see that it's them, you're just like, "Oh."
Oh. Violet flies to Samara. Violet and Taryn are arguing about whether or not Violet can attempt a running landing. Violet says Taryn cannot change graduation requirements, but he tells Violet, well, I've never tried, so we don't know. But they do compromise, shockingly, that they will come up with a solution that doesn't break every bone in Violet's body, which I
I
think
can
is
get
a good
on that
compromise.
boat. Yeah, yeah.
They're both so stubborn, though.
They are, I know. That's why they're made for each other.
Literally.
So Violet mentions the packs of weapons she's carrying are heavy and vibrating with energy. She's assuming they are already imbued with power, which I think is a
Hmm.
little nod there.
I wonder where or who imbued them.
Yes, because we do get that little tidbit in one of these chapters that says that it's a skill that Biscaya kids don't learn.
Hmm.
So who is imbuing these powers?
Ooh, something to
Mm.
think about.
Indeed.
Violet finds Xaden in the courtyard with several riders behind him, and Xaden tells Violet to let him kiss her for show if she wants to be able to speak with him tonight. Violet loses herself in the kiss, and Mira has to break them apart.
Awkward.
Mira is now being stationed at Samara. Xaden carries Violet's bags to his room. Mira realizes Violet is not just sleeping with Xaden, but that she is in love with him.
In love.
Violet says, you cannot tell by just looking at me. But she can't lie to her sister, but she literally says that to her, and Mira's like, what? Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
okay. Yeah.
Mira is so disgusted. So
She's about to
disgusted.
ask her if she's tired still again.
Yeah. And tells her, we need to go throw some knives at shit because
Yeah.
I cannot handle this right now.
Yeah.
Xaden
She's like,
Ryerson.
"Ugh, gross." So Mira tells Violet that after war games, RSC is when most second years die. They only take 1 or 2 squads at a time so no one notices the increase.
Mhm.
If you don't break, they can accidentally torture you to death. And if you do break, they will kill you.
So they just kill people no matter what.
This is definitely Varish's plan, though. He's just gonna keep torturing her until she dies, or try to at least.
Yeah, I'm surprised later in this chapter that he even brings in Nolan, just
I
reading
know.
this sentence about what Mira says about RC.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe it can't happen too fast. It would be too obvious.
Yeah, maybe like during the assessment, you have to be like a little bit more discreet.
Yeah. Though people have already died during the
Yeah.
assessment, but who knows?
Well, that's I think because they turned
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
So I think that's why they died.
Got it.
So Mira tells us one thing she isn't good at poisons like Violet and Brennan. I remember thinking this when I read it, that it was the first time that we're learning this, that Brennan and Violet are good at poisons, and it's going to be something exciting
Mhm.
and a connection that I found. And Megan's like, no, it's mentioned multiple times in Fourth Wing. I'm like, oh, okay. So there you go.
There we go.
We've gotten a third mention here that Violet and Brennan are good at poisons. So I think we're going to see some poison work with Brennan
Yeah,
and Violet in the future
yeah.
together, maybe.
Mira notices that Violet has custom tear daggers, and Violet admits Xaden had them made for her. That Xaden has a vested interest in making sure that Violet stays alive. And Mira tells Violet that she shouldn't trust Xaden. So she's still on this, don't trust him. Why are you in love with him?
Yeah.
And Violet's like, well, I don't trust him. So Mira tells Violet they have a very unhealthy relationship since she's in love with Xaden, but she doesn't trust him. We agree, Mira. We agree.
Yeah, we agree. That's good sister advice. You
It-
should at least trust him if you are in love with him.
literally.
But I think she does trust him. She just doesn't want to give in to
Mm.
him without knowing the full disclosure.
All right.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Violet asks Mira why she was stationed in Samara when it's warded and she's basically a walking shield.
Mhm.
Mira thinks they're worried about attacks there because this outpost is one of the biggest power supplies for the wards. So a giant portion of the border is vulnerable if the outpost falls. So naturally they want to put their strongest riders. So Mira tells Violet the wards are woven into the ground out here and to think of it as an umbrella.
Mhm.
The wardstone is the stem and the wards take a dome shape over Navarre. But like an umbrella, the spokes are strongest at the stem, and by the time the wards reach the ground, they're too weak without a boost, which is where the alloy comes in, and the dragons who boost the wards twice as far.
Mhm.
So,
Explain this to me, Amanda.
yes. So the ward stone
Mhm.
is the strongest part of the ward.
Mhm.
And it's strong enough to make like a dome of protection over Navarre. But as it gets closer to the extremities, farthest away from the ward stone to the ground, it becomes weaker.
Mhm.
So things can get in unless they make it stronger somehow, which is where the dragons come in and where this alloy comes in.
Mhm. That makes
So
sense.
she tells Violet that you don't make new wards. You can only weave extensions like adding threads to something that already exists. But her signet works differently. She pulls the wards with her. She
Mhm.
can also manifest her own, but she has to be close enough to an outpost, kind of like she is the thread. So
Mm.
she can only pull them with her and has to be close to the wards.
Makes sense.
So,
I wonder what would happen if she tried, though, side
oh,
of the wards. Maybe she does have the power to project a signet because no one else's power is tied to the wards. It's just a
yeah.
little bit more reckless once you're outside of it. But I
Yeah.
just wonder what would happen.
I feel like they would work, but they would be weaker the further she was away.
Mm,
Like, I don't think it would never not work,
yeah.
but I think the further she is, the weaker it's gonna be, or the less time she's gonna be able to use the shield or
Mm,
something.
yeah.
But, well, I guess we'll have to see if she ever uses it beyond the
I
wards.
guess so.
So Violet tries to press Mira for more information, like what the alloy is made of and how the ward stones work.
Mhm.
But she just says everything is above her pay grade, and the people who know are the only ones that should know. It's classified for a reason.
Rule follower.
Yeah, she's giving me like Dane the Stain vibes
I
here.
know.
Mira,
Mira.
you're cooler than that.
Seriously, Mira.
Have an open mind, Mira.
Literally. Come
Live a
on.
little. Think a little beyond your pay grade. So Violet even asks her if she was on or knew anyone on the missions to check Poramish cities for damage, and Mira said no, but she knew they went because she saw about a dozen dragons in the distance to the south over the border.
Mm.
Dragons or wyvern?
Wyvern.
Yep. Violet nonchalantly says, well, what if they were venom? And Mira thinks she's tired and not getting enough sleep. So poor Violet tries here to
Tell her
use that little
sister.
in because she's thinking the same thing we were, like, it wasn't dragons, bitch.
Yeah. It was
But of
wyvern.
course, Mira's like, girl, you're tired.
Yeah.
Go
You
to bed.
need a literal big nap. A big nappy nap.
Yeah.
Oh, so later that night, Xaden returns from duty.
And Xaden tells Violet that civilians were trying to cross the border and infantry killed them. And it happens a lot out there in Samara.
What?
So now infantry is killing civilians.
What?
Yeah.
Not cool.
Wild.
Xaden says that this kind of thing doesn't get breathed up a Skyeth, and he also reassures her that Mira is fine from the altercation.
Mhm.
Violet confesses that she almost told Mira today about everything and that she wants her to know what's happening, which of course she would. That
Yeah.
Brennan is alive. This big secret
Yeah.
is going on with their leadership.
I
That
know.
Mira is like, rising in the ranks of a corrupt government.
Literally. And no offense, but the biggest secret to me, at least, because I have a brother and a sister, and you have a brother and a sister, so I'm sure you agree. How
Mhm.
could you ever keep that your brother is alive from your sister?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able
How?
to.
No, me neither.
No.
And if you want her to believe you so bad about the venin, tell her
Or
that.
about Brennan, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
crazy.
again, she's like, "Did you hit your head?"
Literally.
Like, "No, that's why I'm alive. He saved me. He sucked the poison out of me." But Violet admits to Xaden that she feels heavy, that she doesn't have anyone who truly knows her anymore. And Xaden tells her that they are not easy people. And
Mhm.
what they build together has to be strong enough to withstand a storm or a war, which
Yeah.
is very true.
Yeah.
Violet apologizes that she didn't tell him about Jasenia and her research on the wards. She implies that she only did so because Xaden kept secrets from her. Xaden tells her that she is allowed to have her secrets so long as they don't risk everything he has worked towards the last few years or her life. Xaden says he won't withhold information that could change how she makes decisions and asks her for the same. Which I guess this is progress, right?
Yeah,
Progress in
this
the
is
right
progress.
direction.
Yeah, he's basically saying without saying, "You don't need full disclosure. Neither do I.
Yeah.
But we can still be good."
Yeah. So as long as your secrets can't be something that would change how I make a decision and vice versa.
Exactly. Like, if it involves our lives at stake, tell me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zayden also implies that she should start learning how to do Tirish knots.
That was
That's
a
a random
cute
thing.
little yeah. I love, though, that they do keep their culture alive because we get that whole chapter and section where they're in battle brief and they're talking about lost cultures and stuff, and
Mhm.
not in Tyrande, they love to keep their traditions alive,
Yeah, I think
not just their runes.
yes, they try to keep as much intact as they can, and I definitely love
Yeah,
that.
me too. So Xaden also tells Violet that she will eventually be able to block out Dane if she keeps the shields intact at all times, and he
Mhm.
knows what the alloys are made of.
Ah!
An amalgamation of telidium, a few other ores, and dragon eggshells. We learn dragon eggshells are metal and carry magic long after the dragons hatch. So this makes sense why there's so much magic there in the hatching grounds. Oh, it's all the eggshells.
Also Rebecca Yaros, I was not picturing your dragon eggs to be metal. I'm sorry.
No, me neither. I was picturing a very shiny
Egg.
material, but not metal.
Yes.
Like shiny and powerful and like,
Big.
yeah.
But not metal. That just weirds me out. That seems like such a futuristic thing, and this world is not futuristic.
Yeah, it's like cyborg dragons or something. Or like they're made chemically or I don't know.
Weird. I
Scientific.
need a picture of these eggs, Rebecca.
Yeah, me
Thanks.
too. We gotta find that, some fan art.
Yeah. Violet tells Xaden that she can't sleep because she has nightmares about Resin. And Xaden makes a comment about her loving him. And Violet tells him not to remind her and that they're not fighting tonight. And he says, well, maybe she's not the one he's reminding, which is just so
Aw.
sad. But I mean, here
I
it is
know.
Violet saying, don't remind me that I love you. But she does love him. So technically, she doesn't say, I love you, but she admits to loving him. So can we
Yeah,
just
I
drop
know.
this already?
Literally, they're just so hung up on the words, but in reality, the words don't mean shit.
No, exactly. However, being next to Xaden comforts her enough to lull her into sleep.
Indeed.
Lovely. Chapter 21. Violet is an injured gal after some flight maneuvers her body didn't like. Leadership is rushing off to help with an outpost, and Professor Devar takes over history class. Dean is also a big jerk.
Yes. Great chapter. So the epigraph for chapter 21 is the migration of the first year is one of the crowning achievements of Navarre's unification. What a celebration of the human spirit to leave a life of war and enter one of peace, blending people, languages, and culture from every region of the continent and forming a cohesive, united society whose only goal is mutual security. This is from Navarre, an unedited history by Colonel Lewis Markham.
Violet has to wear a sling on her shoulder because of the running landing she had been practicing in class. Violet tried to put her name on the list to see Nolan, but was told he wouldn't have an opening until it most likely healed naturally. Rhiannon
Hmm.
shoots Violet and I told you something is going on look. And why would a mender have a month-long waiting list?
Yeah, a month long? What is up with that?
Sketch. Sketch.
Mending a soul somewhere, are you, Nolan?
Yeah. Violet, remember he literally told you.
Yeah, remember?
Professor Devara is taking over their history lesson today as most of the leadership just ran to the flight field. So,
Yes, because there was an attack on the Eastern Wing. They'll get all the details in Battle Brief the next day, but so far there's only one death, Mason Sanborn. He was one of 10 of them that flew into Reston, and only 6 of them now are still alive. They're
um,
picking them off one by one.
that's even sketchier than
Yeah,
Nolan having a month-long waiting
literally.
list.
Yeah, so clearly Violet can't think straight about Nolan because she has much more to think about.
Yeah, like
Not just Xaden saying, I love you, but.
there's a lot of issues going on at the
Yeah.
moment.
So Devara sees that they were discussing the second Signy incursion from year 328, but everyone should know that the end result of a 4-day tantrum was Signisin being absorbed into the kingdom of Poromil, where they've been for the last 300 years. She's like, blah, 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 let's do something
Yeah,
else.
blah blah blah. You should already know this.
Yeah. She asked if anyone knows the difference between Poromil's provinces and Navarre's. Someone from Signisin is likely to label themselves as a Signy instead of Poromish, as opposed to Navarre's provinces who unified under the protection of the First Wards, chose a common language, and blended cultures of all 6 provinces into one kingdom.
Yeah, so they would be like, I'm Navarian.
Yeah, versus someone from Poromil who would say, I'm Signy instead of saying, I'm Poromish. So
Yeah.
the common language chosen was that of Chaldeer, Deaconshire, and Elsum provinces. So the Lucerus, Moraine, and Tyrander provinces lost their languages. Technically, they gave them up willingly, but either way, they're dead languages.
Mm.
This is why I was saying earlier that I love that Xaden still keeps up with the Tyrish knots and everything because, it must suck. Everything you grew up with and practiced and
Yeah, not
had fun
everyone's
with.
reading these dead languages like Violet
Exactly.
does.
Yeah, exactly. Navarians also lost the ability to travel. They're not welcome beyond their borders, and they lost major parts of their culture.
Mm,
Not just language, but songs, festivals, libraries, and such. Everything in Tyrish had to be changed except for the unique runes because there is just too many of them in architecture to justify changing them. And even though things are translated, things are lost in translation, as we've realized throughout the first couple hundred pages of this book.
for sure.
And Ree brings up that they also lost their folklore. But the migration of the first 6 also gave them more of a unified culture. So I don't know, Megan, what do you think is better?
I don't know. I think it is nice to be united to protect, obviously, what we know is out there. I don't like
Yeah.
that they're blocking others from coming in to be protected if
Yeah.
that's what they choose. But I do like that they're unified, but I also wish that there was still some diversity and some culture from the other provinces still being allowed, like the songs and the festivals. And I
Yeah.
and I think it's fine, if you want to be united, but I don't think it's necessary to take away culture and
Yeah. It's
diversity.
almost like, are you really united if you can't accept other
Right.
cultures and celebrate other
No,
cultures
it sounds like you took
equally?
3 and then kicked
Yeah.
out 3.
Which is also not fair. Like, at least at the end of the day, if you're gonna unite and not include everybody, then at least fucking pick something new that everyone has to learn and not half of the freaking country is good and half is not.
Right, exactly. I wanna know, since we know Violet traveled around a lot from one outpost to the next and city to city or province to province, I wonder where her family actually
Yeah.
originated from.
I know. That would be interesting to learn, or even where she's traveled.
Yeah.
We at least know that she's been to Chaldeer because isn't that where the king is and
Yeah.
Arik and how she knew them? So that's
Mhm.
one place we know she's traveled, but
Yeah. It sounds like
I
she
wanted
spent
to.
most of her life at Biscayeth, but, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I wanna know where other places she's been.
Well, they jumped around before.
She was the general there.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
she was still, like, in combat, I guess,
Mm.
moving around.
Yeah. Later, Violet joins in on the last mat challenges for months. The first years will have the gauntlet to worry about, and the second years will be getting tortured. Fun times.
Fun times, indeed.
Dane approaches Violet, but she snaps at him, telling him that they are no longer friends.
Nope.
Rhiannon wants to know why Dane and Violet are still beefing. She thought, maybe it had something to do with Xaden, but this is going on for far too long for it just to be like boy problems.
Yeah. Literally.
Violet tells her that he stole something from her, but she can't report it. It's complicated. Before they can continue their conversation, Dane challenges Violet to a mat challenge. Violet is injured. She's literally in a sling. And Rhiannon, Imogen, and Bodhi try to stop the match, but Dane forces Violet to get on the mat as her wing leader.
Ugh.
Xaden wannabe.
Literally.
Bodhi tells Dean that Violet could kill him with those daggers, and Dean says she won't because they are old friends. Rihanna chimes in with, "Oh, yes, this is very friendly behavior, Dane."
Yeah, literally.
Dane tells Violet that he just wants to talk to her, so that's why he challenged her to this mat challenge because it forces them to have an interaction.
Yeah.
Violet keeps her shields up for fear of him tapping into her memories, but still Dane presses on telling her that he had nothing to do with the Griffins who ambushed them at Ressin. Violet continues to fight with Dane and is like, "You're the reason Liam and Soleil are dead, and we will never be friends." She literally has a dagger to his neck and draws blood.
Yeah. She's like, "A little cup there."
Yeah,
She's like, "I'll do it."
she's not playing around.
No.
So Dane tells Violet, "You can't trust Xaden. Even though you chose him and you're together, you can't not choose him. Do you know why he has the scars on his back?" And she's like, "Of course I know why he has them." So Dane is like, "Do you know who put them there?" And
Ugh.
so she's like, "No, like he is not going to get into my head," but Dane kind of does because Dane tells Violet that her mother is responsible for the scars on Xaden's back.
Crazy. I totally forgot that Dane is the one that tells her this.
Mhm.
Why? Of course it had to be Dane.
Of course it does.
Of
And so
course.
then Dane taps out. He's like, "She wins," and leaves.
Can't wait to see that portion of the fight.
Yeah.
It's coming, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. So after the match, Rihanna confronts Violet and asks her what killed Day. So Rhiannon is a smart gal. We know from Violet in the past couple chapters says that Rhiannon is a problem solver and Violet
Yeah.
is a huge problem to her right now. And so she's piecing things together. The more Violet says, the more she's kind of like, okay, so this happened here and then this happened and this happened. And now she also knows that Dane can read memories. So
Yeah.
Violet does relent and tell Rhiannon that Dane stole a memory from her, and that is why they're beefing.
Right.
Auric is able to distract the conversation though by needing to go to the infirmary. Thank God.
Thank
Auric's like,
God.
"I broke my wrist. I need
Yeah.
help."
He's like, "I was been told to come tell you,
Yes.
squad leader."
As Violet walks away, she says to Rhiannon, "Please don't ask me that question again. Don't make me lie to you." So
Ooh.
Rihanna knows she has to know she's on the right track and that
Yeah.
Violet is now not telling her for probably a good reason.
But also, you were just gonna tell her before Varish interrupted you, so why now are you like, "Don't ask me again"?
Well, I mean, they're also in the middle of the sparring gym too. So with mat challenges
Yeah.
going on, there's too many people around, I think, for her to just be like, "Okay, fine, I'll tell you." But
Well,
so
she can say, "I'll tell you, let's talk in private," or something,
I
but
know. Well, Violet just is very up and down about
I don't know.
if she's
She's
gonna
like, "I wanna
tell her
save you."
not.
"No, I don't. I wanna save you." "No, I don't."
Yeah.
"You can save yourself." "No, you can't."
Also, this chapter ends with Auric telling Violet he knows what leadership is up to, and that's why he's here.
Wild! His dad thinks he's fucking around.
Yeah,
His
literally
20th birthday
birthday,
tour or some shit.
and he literally brought himself to Biscayeth and entered the Riders
Yeah.
Quadrant.
Which means the king knows about the venom, he ain't doing shit about it,
Mhm.
which we already knew, like, obviously, Biscayeth leadership knew, but even the kingdom is because, we all the missives and shit go through Biscayeth before they even get to the king, so who knew if he really even knew until this point?
Mhm.
But if Arik knows, he definitely knows.
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy.
Crazy. Wild. So, chapter 22. Violet has nightmares about the venom.
Oh my.
This seems like a reoccurring thing, these nightmares. Zayden's back in town and he's about to show her Biscay's forge and letting her in, but bad timing because she's about to be dragged into RSC interrogation.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. on. Zayden's like, "Ooh, thank God I don't have to actually let her in." I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Literally, he's like, "Safe for another week."
Yeah. She can't confront him about the scars. She can't do
Yeah.
anything.
Well, does he even know that yet? He doesn't even know that Dane told her that.
No, that's what I'm saying. This is the first time
Yeah.
she's seeing him after the mat challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, she does tell him about the challenge and
Yeah.
says that, she kept her shield up. So there was opportunity right there to say it, but she doesn't.
Yeah, true, true. So the epigraph for chapter 22 is at some point, probably during your second year, you'll realize the trust you feel for your friends and family has nothing on the loyalty you develop for your squad. And this is from page 91 of the Book of Brennan.
Good
Oh,
thing her squad is her friends.
I hope this is foreshadowing that she's gonna fucking tell them the secrets soon because I want them all to know.
They need to know.
They need to know.
Not just that we want them to know, they really need to know for
I
their
know.
survival.
I know. There's more and more attacks. There's shit going on. It's nuts.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So, Violet is having a nightmare at the beginning of this chapter. Violet is trying to run faster and faster to outrun the Venom. She's trying to get back to Tarn, and then Indarna is also there in this wasteland. The Venom has a maroon hood and he has a staff, and he tells her it's a shame, all that power at her fingertips, and yet she keeps insisting on using the same failed tactics over and over again and expecting different results. So that's
Interessante.
why I was like, she must be having this same recurring nightmare, which I don't think is an actual nightmare at this
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
because it seems so real.
Yeah. What do you think it is?
I don't know. Maybe it is just a dream, but I think the venom is somehow infiltrating her dreams, but I don't know how that's possible.
Really?
That's just what I think.
Yeah. She's so mad at herself that it's all she can think about and she's manifesting nightmares about it.
Yeah, we'll just have to see if we get
We
any more
will.
nightmares.
Yeah. The Venom in Violet's nightmare says to her, "Fight me and die, or join me and live beyond the ages, but you will never escape me, not when I've waited centuries for someone with your power." Whoa.
Whoa, crazy.
Interesting.
But they did kind of say something like that to her during the battle, how they wanted to take her to their leader.
Yeah. After
So,
reading this, I can see where you're coming from about thinking the Venom are infiltrating her mind and her
yeah.
dreams.
Yeah, because she was stabbed with one of their daggers. Is
Yeah,
that a way in for them? Now, do they have this like connection to her? I don't
I
know.
know. And what is up with their obsession with her power?
They
Like,
are very
fight me
obsessed.
and die or join me and live beyond the ages, like live forever?
Yeah. So Violet is not having this though. And the Venom says, "Death it is." Because I think Violet said, "Fuck you" to
Yeah.
that little fight me and die or join me and live beyond the
Yeah.
ages. She's like, "Fuck you." So
She's like, "I will never join you."
Venom's like, "Well, death it is."
Yeah.
Then, just as the Venom is about to kill her in her dreams, she wakes up and she keeps telling herself, "It's just a dream. It's just a dream. It's just a
Anxiety.
dream."
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's not.
That is sort of kind of foreshadowing to say, like, is it a dream? I
I
don't
know. I think it
know.
is foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
So that day, when she wakes up after the awful dream, Zayden is in town, so that must make her feel a little bit better. And he is going to open up to her today to take Violet to Basgiath's forge. And Violet knows that this is Zayden's way of letting her in. Zayden wants to know, well, because he's doing this, will she give him some truth now? Not
Oh.
truth, but trust.
Yeah. Will she trust him back?
Yeah.
So Violet tells Zayden she found a text that said the first six didn't just establish the wards, they personally carved the first wardstone. And the
Mm.
text said first, so there's a good chance that they carved the one in Arisha too.
Mhm.
So more than one or multiple.
Mhm.
She is onto something, but she needs a first-hand account from one of the six, and Violet knows it exists from her father mentioning it. So she's hoping they haven't been translated and redacted yet.
Fingers crossed.
Which is so interesting that she mentions that her father has mentioned it before.
Yeah. What has her father seen? And what did he
Yeah.
know?
Where is this research of his, and why aren't we finding it yet, Violet?
Violet, what are you doing?
Come on, I thought you were a researcher at heart.
Ay, ay, ay. Drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But Varsh interrupts them on the way to the forge. So
Oh,
no
of
forge and no
course.
more chats for them today.
Today is the dreadful day. RSC interrogation and Violet squad is up.
Hmm.
Zayden fights it though, since Violet is injured, and he believes that Varsh will use the opportunity to kill her for the embarrassment Taryn put him and Solus through.
Hmm.
And he says his intentions are pretty fucking clear. Trust me.
Because you're not supposed to be going into interrogation
Yeah.
injured.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's part of the codex.
it's part of the codex.
But here we go.
But Violet makes Sigale intervene because, Varsh will punish them, keeping them apart, and then Sigale and Taryn won't be able to see each other, and it's not going to make for happy dragons.
Yeah.
And so Sigale's like, fine, if only to make this conversation stop.
Yeah. She's like, whatever.
Yeah,
Zayden, let's go.
yeah. It's like, you went to Sigale?
Yeah. Like you told my mom?
Yeah, literally. He's like, well, next time I'm going to tell your dad.
Yeah. Violet tells Zayden to return a book from her room to the archives and tell Jacinia that she needs a text mentioned on page 304. So she's being a little cryptic to him now.
Yeah, she's telling him this through their little mind bond.
Yeah.
But out
Yeah.
loud, Xaden tells Violet that it's only the body that is fragile, that she is unbreakable.
Yes.
Violet repeats that she is unbreakable as Professor Grady leads her away.
Ugh.
It is nice that Professor Grady did just bound like her good hand and
I
not
know.
not her bad
Yeah.
hand.
Even though she shouldn't be bound at all because injured people shouldn't be going, but sure, we'll give him
Sure,
that.
here we go.
Yeah.
Nobody's sticking up to Varish except Xaden and Taryn, apparently.
Yeah.
Chapter 23. This chapter sucked. That's all I have to say.
Literally
Here we go.
sucked. Here we go. So the epigraph for chapter 23 is the things that happen behind closed doors in the Riders Quadrant in order to turn young cadets into full-fledged riders are enough to turn even the staunchest of stomachs. Those prone to queasiness should not pry. This is from Major Offender's Guide to the Riders Quadrant, the unauthorized edition.
I do have a pretty queasy stomach, and
Yeah,
I was like, oof, just
I
during this.
know. I
I
know,
couldn't.
me too. I'm like, luckily for me, when I read it, it doesn't hurt as much, or
Oh,
like I don't feel it as much as if I see it. So I'm like just
don't
reading it.
listen
I'm
to
like,
the graphic
whatever.
audio because
Yeah.
that just was a lot of like punching and ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. No, I wouldn't have been good at that.
No, not good.
No.
So, Violet has been taken into the torture chambers for her official interrogation with Rhiannon, Sawyer, and Riddick.
Violet Squad has all been given classified information to protect for the RSC interrogation assessment. The purpose of the exercise is to teach them how to survive capture, and there's a patch up for grabs if they can find a way to escape. They also have to share a secret with each other and protect that information while they try to force it out of them.
Rhiannon's secret is that last year, while they're at Montserrat, she and Violet snuck out to see her family. Sawyer's secret is he didn't tell his parents he had to repeat his first year. Riddick is terrified of snakes, which
That
I
was
feel
a
like
stupid one.
it was a stupid secret.
Well,
And then
also Riddick is like stupid and silly, so
I know, but really, snakes?
I know.
And then Violet's secret is that the infantry is killing Pormish civilians at the border. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
She's like, how's that for a secret? Because this girl tried to use that she was in love with Zayden
I
Ryerson as
know.
her secret, but they're like,
They're like, "Honey, you can't be that delusional."
yeah,
Like,
you
come on.
you are Delulu if you think that
Even
nobody
fucking
knows that.
Mira knew after watching them interact for like 3 seconds.
It's crazy.
Crazy. Do you think that Riddick is gonna run into some snakes at some point? He fucking fights dragons and he's afraid of snakes. I mean, well, he doesn't fight dragons, but he,
They're like baby
is around
dragons.
dragons. Yeah, so funny.
Stupid secret.
Stupid. So Professor Grady tries to give them food and water before the exercise, but Violet knows they are trying to give them the elixir again to cut them off from their dragons, so they
Mhm.
pretend to drink it and flush it down the toilet. They decide that they're going to fake the disconnect. And he gives them some advice about using what they've learned from reading and to work together, which I love when they fake it to him and Rhiannon's like,
Yeah.
"Oh no, I can't feel my dragon
Like, "You
bond." Like,
tricked us!" And
yeah, like they're so convincing.
I know, and Professor Grady's like, "Yeah, well, that's how you should know. We're always in the test."
Yeah, so funny. I
Yeah.
can't. So it is important for them to work together and use textbook shit to get out of this, but we'll
Yeah.
see how it goes.
So 10 minutes later, they are brought into a second chamber where they are bound in a windowless room besides Violet, who is bound to a chair. Two riders Violet has never seen before enter and begin interrogating them. The woman slaps Violet around, claiming that Violet is the weakest and the rest of her fellow cadets have been carrying her along. Then they turn to Riddick, hitting him in the face. They decide to leave them and the cadets to wait around for hours.
Ugh, brutal. I can't imagine watching my friends get their ass beats too. I'd be even more pissed than myself getting my ass beat.
And the way they were already trying to, like, turn them against Violet and one another just in that
Yeah.
first, like,
Yeah.
"They've been carrying you, haven't you? Because 'Cause you're so weak," and
Yeah.
I don't know. Of course, like,
Oh,
none of them are saying anything. They did a really good job in holding up.
yeah, for sure. The rider torturing them, though, had a signet powers and will know when they are lying.
Rhiannon tells the group that they will try and turn them against each other and that they all agree that they won't break. The two interrogators come back and they all end up with more bruises. Violet checks in with Zayden, and Zayden tells Violet that it's almost midnight. And so they're like, okay, we just got to get through the
Over.
rest of the night and this is
Yeah.
over. And the group is like, is Taryn listening to the bells? And she's like, not exactly. But the interrogators come back in, and at the end of this chapter, and also Varish has arrived
Oh,
and is questioning the interrogators on what they've been doing.
yeah.
Like, wow, this is a strong, loyal group. And they're like, yeah, most cadets have broken by now, and they haven't.
Yeah.
So he dismisses the interrogators and brings in Dane,
Oh,
claiming that he will be able to break them in record time. When
interessante.
I read this the first time, I was like, are you kidding me?
I know. I
I was
fully expected
so
him to go through with it for sure.
nervous.
I know.
Chapter 24. I never thought I'd be so thankful for Dane Oitos, but I am in this chapter.
Yeah, for real. So the epigraph for chapter 24 is: every few years, a squad comes along that defies all expectations. They rise through the ranks, secure every patch, and win every challenge. And then they inexplicably falter, then fall. They call it the burnout effect. They flare too fast, too bright to sustain the pace. Sad, really, but mildly entertaining to watch them turn on one another. This is from Major Offender's Guide to the Writer's Quadrant, the unauthorized edition.
That will never happen to
That will
our group.
never happen.
Never.
We are a loyal bunch.
Yes. Dane argues against interrogating Violet to Varys, saying that she is injured and the rules say that she must be healthy before interrogations
Thank
begin.
God he is a
Va-
rule follower in this
Varys,
instance.
yeah, Varys is like, well, it says they should, not that they
Yeah,
have to be. So he's trying to just use that to get Dane to do what he wants.
yeah.
But Dane is a rule follower.
He's not as easily manipulated as we suspected originally.
Yes, thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Varys wants Dane to use his signet on Violet, supposedly to draw out the secret phrase. Varys goads Dane on, saying that he can find out what really happened the day the Marked Ones were killed at Resin, and that he can learn why Violet chose Xaden over him.
And Varish says he wants to use Dane to test a theory and basically see if Xaden shows up. So
Yes, which
Violet's like warning Xaden now through their bond. She's like, don't come, don't come,
don't
don't
come,
come.
yeah.
He's testing us.
Yeah, because she tells Xaden that Dane is there and he's like, I'm on my way. And then she's like, stop, don't come. Like, if you don't want to ruin everything that you've worked on for years, you have to trust me. You have to
Yes.
just let this happen because if you show up, it ruins everything.
Yeah, well, it will prove that they can communicate, which I think he's onto the fact that they can communicate to each other through
Hmm.
their dragons. So
Varys is an observer and he sees a lot of things that other people don't see.
Yeah, for sure. So Violet realizes that while Carr is her teacher, Varish is Dane's. So what the fuck is his signet power that he has?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with like observation and the true, I don't know. Like maybe he has like another one of the abilities like these interrogators have because that's his job. Like that's what he's
Yeah.
put out in the field is interrogating.
Yeah, but this connection to Dane in this way, I don't think is a mistake. I think it's another Rebecca Yarros Easter egg for us in saying that it is some kind of mind thing that he
Yeah.
has going on there. Sort of like how Dane isn't a full intrinsic, then I don't think Varish is a full intrinsic, but he has some kind of capability that can get into somebody's mind.
Yeah, because I think if he already knew, she would be dead. I
Yeah.
think if he had enough proof, her and Zayden would have been done for already.
Yeah, for sure.
But Dane refuses to be a part of this interrogation because it's against the rules and walks out. He doesn't even wait for permission. He just fucking leaves. And Varsh is like, "Ah,
Outstanding.
fucking rule follower." And then
Yeah.
he punches Violet's shoulder that is injured out of its socket and she passes out.
What a dick. I can't stand this guy.
Literally such a dick.
I'm actually surprised at this point that Taryn doesn't just eat him.
Yeah.
Just bite his arm off or something. Teach him a lesson.
So he needs a lesson for sure.
Yeah. Needs a
Clearly,
lesson.
the last lesson did not work.
Well,
Also, so nobody knew besides Rhiannon what Dane's signet was, but now Riddick and Sawyer know. I don't know
yeah.
if it was, I think it was Riddick that's like, he can do what?
Yeah.
Because
Well, his
Var,
signet is classified.
yeah, and Varsh is like, well, she probably already told them anyways, which Violet doesn't deny, but she didn't tell Riddick and Sawyer. She only told Rhiannon. So
Yeah.
literally, Riddick's reaction, going, he can do what, is genuine.
Yeah, for sure.
Violet awakens under Nolan's care. Nolan is on orders to remain in the torture chamber for the rest of Violet's interrogation, which Varish has extended until the next day.
No.
How is this allowed?
I don't know, especially because he was taken out of the field for killing people in interrogations.
Yes. Nolan leaves the room and tells Varsh that Violet will have to sleep off her mending and asks him to come with him to attend to another patient, claiming his particular skills could be of use.
Interessante.
The group knows that they need to get out of here before Varsh kills Violet.
Yeah. They're like, this is our way of escaping, our
This is our
chance.
only chance to
Yeah.
get out
We're
before
not
Violet
staying here
dies.
another fucking day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once they decide to escape, thanks to Nolan's help, Sawyer gets started melting the hinges as soon as they are alone in the chamber. He has to do this because lesser magic doesn't work on the lock itself. But there is another door with the same issue, and suddenly Violet feels heat at her ribs. The same feeling when she
Ooh.
walks through the wards on her door. It's the dagger closest to the door that she's carrying that is hot and tingling. She grabs it and touches metal against metal, and the door lock clicks open.
That was
Interessante.
nuts. Like I
Very
wonder
unexpected.
like it knew it could be used. Like how do these runes work? I need to know more.
I know, and I feel like it does have a connection to Zayden's magic specifically because she said it feels the same as when she goes through the wards on her door that he also put on her door.
Or is it just because he just knows how to do the Tyrish runes and that's why it feels like Zayden?
Well, did he do the wards with runes?
I think he gave her those daggers, so he probably did the runes in the daggers.
Yeah, I know, but he did the wards too, and she's making the connection that she's saying it feels the same as walking through.
Oh,
But I don't think he used runes to do that.
no.
So that's why I'm saying I wonder if his magic specifically is something that she can feel or
Maybe.
something that he made or whatever. I don't know. Just an interesting thought there. But it is weird that it just heats up at this moment to be used.
Yeah, it didn't heat up when she walked through the door the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Or
Interesting.
when they were trying to get out of the first door.
Well, I don't think that door was warded the same way the first door was.
Oh, so maybe that's how it sensed the ward or something and knew that it could unlock the ward or drop
Yeah.
the
Well,
ward.
she also didn't have her daggers until they got out of the first door because
Oh,
that's where
that's
all
true.
their
Oh, yeah, that's where all their stuff was. Yeah,
so.
that's true.
But I
Yeah.
don't think they were warded the same way.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll have to see what comes of
Interesting.
that.
Yes, indeed. More rune talk too. We're getting into these runes here.
Yes.
Hmm.
Chapter 25. Our squad is unstoppable and they are the top squad for a reason, but an old enemy is now lurking once again around the corner.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So the epigraph for chapter 25 is, if we ever chose to invade enemy territory, which we don't, I would choose Zola as my first target. Take out Cliffsbane Academy and you take out years of Griffin Riders in one strike. This is from Tactics, a personal memoir by Lieutenant Lyron Panchek.
Hmm.
Cliffsbane Academy, where you'll take out years of Griffin Riders. So is this the Griffin's equivalent to Besgaiath, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
So, all squad, they've escaped. They find
Yay!
Professor Grady and they request their new patch for escaping their interrogation
Hell
assessment.
yeah.
Violet also told her friends that she got those daggers from Zayden because they're like, what the heck was that? And she's
Yeah,
like,
like
I
where did those come
honestly
from?
don't know, but I got them from Zayden.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm being truthful here. I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I have no clue.
We learn that Dane now hasn't looked at Violet in a few days since the interrogation has been over, and the squad is talking about how Violet needs to get out more instead of just hanging out with Zayden on the weekends. She's becoming that annoying girl who only hangs out with her boyfriend.
Yeah, but it's not like she has a choice. She has to fly away and I mean, what's she gonna do? Not see him when he comes to Biscayeth?
No, I know,
You
but they just
know?
miss her. They want her to
I
hang
know.
out.
I know. It sucks for
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. And they're doing this while they're walking to Battle Brief.
So the interrogation assessment has taken 2 second years at this point, and this is just the assessment. This isn't even like the final exam.
Yeah, and they lost a first year in their squad during gauntlet practice while they were in the torture chamber.
Aw.
They weren't even there to hear the name being read.
Yeah, which is
Sad.
not fair to them, but
No.
sad. So Violet notices a scribe walk by, but she can't see who it is with the hood up. She does think it's strange though, because usually they are only in the quadrant for the death roll or whenever Markham needs extra people. So this is interesting for sure.
She's definitely clocking that as odd.
Yeah.
Also, Caroline Ashton approaches their group and wants to know how their squad escaped, but they don't tell her anything.
Yeah, like fuck off. Why would they
Yeah,
tell
why tell
you?
you anything?
Yeah.
Loses.
Loser. So Taryn tells Violet that he felt Sigel get very angry last night. So she asks Bodhi if she should know anything. She's like,
But he
tell
doesn't
me if I should know something.
he didn't know anything.
Yeah, he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So another, and this is in air quotes, propaganda missive turns
Mhm.
up in Battle Brief. There are leaflets lying on every seat that say, Zola falls to Dragonfire. It basically said that Zola in the Breivik province had fallen to blue fire dragons. An estimated 10,000 lives were lost.
Mhm.
Whoa.
I also think it's interesting actually, I'll say it after this.
Okay. So Violet thinks the missive is either fake and printed just for class, which would be a lot of work, or real and just not approved.
Hmm. But Professor Markham chastises the class for being unable to tell that they are propaganda, and he
Yeah.
makes them turn in the missives, and he starts talking about how why would blue dragons do this? But
Yeah.
with the missive no longer in their hands, they're going to question, was it blue dragons or did it say blue fire
Fired. Yeah.
dragons?
Yeah. He's clever.
Yeah.
And even Violet is saying that he's gonna distract and
Deflect.
deflect. And yeah, like she
Yeah.
calls out every single move he makes. And she was completely right about all of
Yeah.
them.
So that's why Violet thinks there is a hint to the truth, and that's why Markham is distracting them from this truth.
Also, she thinks it's a little bit true because she notices that Professor De Vera folds her missive quickly and pockets it. So why would you keep it if it wasn't somewhat true or something going on with that?
Exactly. Exactly.
Interessante. We're getting somewhere spicy.
Yeah, it's
Well,
ramping up for
not
sure.
the romanticy spicy, but
Yeah. The
the secrets
action
coming out
spicy.
spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Markham's distraction, it's a good one. Well,
Yeah.
It's definitely mind-blowing. He
Yeah.
announces that Jack Barlow is still alive. This
No
is what I
way.
was correct about, and I was like, "I knew it, but I didn't want it to be right, but I was correct."
Wild.
He has been mended and was Nolan's special project.
How? A whole ass mountain fell on him. How was there anything to even mend? I think even Sawyer says that. He's like, "How? A
Yeah,
whole fucking mountain, bro?"
but it's him. He
It's
turns
him.
around, it's his same eyes, same everything. And Rhiannon's hoping that, well, maybe he's learned his lesson since an entire mountain fell on him. But
Yeah,
Riddick is
not
like,
likely.
no, he's definitely going to try to kill Violet again.
Yeah. He's like, "Actually, I think we should try and kill him." And they're
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, we all agree. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Let's do it." Crazy.
Chapter 26, Jack Barlow. Are we joking? Also, there is an attack at Samara, and Battle Brief is not going to stop Violet from taking off to find her man.
Oh, hell no, it ain't. The epigraph for chapter 26 is Menders are not healers. Healers are bound to the code of Crichton, sworn to aid all in time of need and never to harm a beating heart. Menders are riders. They're only sworn to the codex. They can as easily bring harm as heal. And this is from Major Frederick's Modern Guide for Healers.
Hmm.
Interesting. Which means to me that it was maybe harmful for Jack Barlow to be brought back to life.
Well, why would anyone want to bring Jack Barlow back to
I
life?
know, I know.
And Varsh wasn't even there when Jack was crushed by the mountain. So who authorized this?
Literally. And how long has this been going on?
Right. They have to have been working on this since he fell, and that was literally so long ago, like before War Games
Yeah.
or the end of War Games. Well, we'll have to see what Jack
We'll
is
have to
up
see.
to.
Yeah.
So, Violet shrugs off Jack's return, feeling a newfound confidence in her hand to hand combat skills, while Jack has only been healing in the infirmary. Taryn confirms that it is Jack, and Bade has been keeping this news from the Empyrean. Violet is like,
Ooh.
yeah, I can see him. It's real. And Sawyer thinks we should probably just kill him again.
Yeah. Literally. I
Prof-
think it's crazy though that they were hiding it from the Empyrean Bade.
yeah, Bade was just being a crazy orange.
Yeah, but I love Violet's confidence. She's like, I fucking fought Venom. I got
Mhm.
good hand to hand combat skills. She's like, Jack fucking Barlow ain't nothing.
Yeah,
He,
literally.
yeah.
He's nothing. Professor Markham tells the class.
Here we go again. There was another unprecedented attack at Samara, not only in proximity, but also the outposts have never been attacked this close together before. They attacked after sundown while most of the riot was wrapping up their day's patrol, and the outpost was successfully defended by 3 riders who were not on patrol. No deaths, thankfully, but one rider was severely injured.
Yes, Professor Devar scratches the left side of her neck. So Violet knows that Mira is okay, but Zayden, it seems, may be the rider who was severely injured. Plus,
Hmm.
with Taryn getting that Sigale being extremely angry
Extremely
the night
pissed.
before,
Yeah,
Violet is connecting the dots that this is probably Zayden.
yeah.
Violet rushes out of the classroom, even though she doesn't have leave, and Taryn tells Violet to meet him in the courtyard. Bodhi stops her to give her his flight jacket so that she doesn't freeze to death on the flight to Samara. And that's how this section ends.
Wild.
Ah, we'll
I
have
hope
to
Zayden's
see.
okay.
Oh.
Oh, I love him.
That was crazy. Like,
That
bitch,
was
you can't even
crazy.
tell him that you love him, but you're gonna leave without leave and
I
get in
know.
trouble for him?
I know.
So annoying, Violet.
But Taryn's on the same page. He's like, meet me outside. Like, they don't even have time to go to the whole flight fields. They're like, go to the courtyard. I'll pick you up there.
Well, yeah, because if Zayden's hurt, Sigale could be hurt, and so they're both
Yeah, they're
panicking.
all, and they could all be dead
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So I get it.
Yeah.
But also, they're going to take every chance they can to punish Violet. So they're definitely not going to be happy and use this against her. So,
For sure.
we'll have to see what happens in the next section.
Mhm.
But that's all we have for you today. Please let us know what you think by leaving us a review and comments on any of the platforms you are listening/watching on or on our social media pages. This helps tremendously to get the word out and lead more listeners to find our show and tune in.
Yes, don't forget to email, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and tell all your friends about us. And we hope the rest of your day is blissful. Bye!
Thank you so much for listening. Join us next week where we start part 4 of Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, covering chapters 27 through 36. Happy reading!